He's win some, she's lose some.
Kid win some.
Kid lost one.
Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we are inching through worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
Before we get started, we wanted to let you know we're planning to take a week off after this episode.
Yep, just a 2-episode break, and then we're going to do a bonus episode where we're more just like chit-chatting, asking questions of each other, answering questions that people wrote in on Discord.
A grab bag.
A mailbag. And so what that means for the schedule, if you're listening to this when it comes out, is...
This episode comes out on Tuesday, May 20th. We will be skipping the following Friday and Tuesday, and then the mailbag episode will come out on Friday, May 30th.
And the following Tuesday in June, we will be heading into Arc 4.
Yeah, we will.
Which Jenny does not know the name of yet, but stay tuned for the end of the episode when we talk about that.
I'll stay tuned.
And of course, as a reminder, just want to plug our Discord. That's probably the best way to ask us a question if you want us to answer it on the mailbag. But you can also send us an email or reach out on social media, Tumblr and Blue Sky.
All right, should we get into this interlude?
Let's do it.
It was really exciting. We got to find out about the wards and the Parahuman Response Team headquarters.
Yeah, it was a immediate debrief after the fight.
Yeah.
So definitely a concluding chapter of this arc, though it does tease some exciting things to come.
Yeah, it does feel like it belonged to Arc 3. I was surprised to find out that it did not have a point of view character. But Miss Militia did show up, so I feel vindicated in my prediction.
Yeah, absolutely. Great vindication. Yeah, it was interesting. There was no focus character. It was a much more distant third person. We ended up having different characters take the spotlight throughout the chapter. And one interesting thing that I noticed was that the narration follows the rule that Lisa suggested about costumes. Everybody has their cape names, except briefly, Aegis comes out of the shower and doesn't have a mask on, and we get to learn that his name is Carlos.
Yeah.
And other than that, everyone's kind of still behind the veil of their cape, so to speak. While we're talking about this, and I will summarize it, it's the third interlude in a row where we do not see Taylor firsthand. She's obviously even more present in the story at this point, but while Danny heard her, she didn't actually come on screen because he stayed in his room. Victoria and Amy had no clue who Taylor was.
No, she wasn't even on the radar. Yeah. They do talk about her in this one, but again, she's not there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's an interesting... It's an
interesting trend.
Very curious. I don't know off the top of my head what the first interlude is where Taylor shows up. So it's going to be interesting to find out.
Ooh, yeah. I guess she probably will at some point. Ted, do you want to tell us what happened in this interlude?
I do. I'm also excited. I think this is the first time I get to summarize an interlude.
I think so.
As you alluded to, we get a close look at the Parahuman Response Team headquarters in downtown Brockton Bay. So the PRT is the sort of, as the name suggests, the police force that responds when there's an incident having to do with capes. It is separate from the Protectorate. I'll add a little bit of commentary. Do I forget that PRT does not stand for Protectorate when I think about Worm? Yes. I think I have made this mistake a lot in my head. Do I forget that the PRT headquarters downtown and the Protectorate headquarters floating on the bay are different buildings? Yes, I do forget about that. So I just want to make it really clear up top. This is a different place.
Which is weird. We can talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about... We get a lot of detail about sort of the structure of the wards team, I guess. But yeah, so this is a building that, there are a lot of PRT officers there. They've got gear for fighting capes. There's no implication that they are capes themselves. I'm not sure that gets discussed, but I don't think there's confirmation one way or another. More importantly, we follow the wards as they enter this building and proceed to their basement headquarters. On the way down, the wards, all looking very much worse for the wear. Aegis is basically a walking corpse. He sticks his hand through his chest at one point. Clockblocker has welts on his face. They're not doing so hot. But they are intercepted by Director Pigot.
It's pronounced Pigot?
Pigot? Pigot?
That's even
Pigott?
worse than Pigott. Well, Pigott sounds like bigot, and that's also bad. I did have a note that her name is awful. Like, there's no way she's a good character with the name Pigot or Pigott. And they call her Piggy. Also, like, there's just no way. Bodes ill.
I mean, that's how I would say it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Pigot.
Pigot. Love it. Right, Ted just looked up the pronunciation. It seems like it's probably Pigott in English and Pigot in French, but... You know, we could call her Pigot. She seems like she kind of sucks, so that's...
While both from Canada, I would lean in the direction of French pronunciations. But yeah, I don't know. I think I've heard it on other Worm podcasts both ways, but I could be misremembering. Anyway, resuming the summary, the wards are intercepted by Director Pigot. She's a hard ass. She complains about the property damage they did. She complains about Kid Wynn's unauthorized use of his big floating gun turret. And she decides to dock the ward's pay as punishment for their reckless behavior. Gallant, true to his name, tries to step in and be like, no, you know, my girlfriend caused most of the damage, so I'll pay. But apparently he's rich, and Director Pigot wants to make a point, so she makes sure that the fine is split evenly amongst them. Interestingly, while it does seem like she sucks or is difficult to deal with, when she threatens to dismantle Kid Wynn's alternator cannon, he calls it, because of its unauthorized use, he's able to persuade her that instead she should just confiscate its power source. And, you know, she is reasonable enough to sort of take that argument.
Yeah, not totally.
Yeah, we can talk about her more. But Pigot also takes away Kid Wynn for further disciplinary review, and the rest of the wards head to the basement of the building, where their headquarters is. This room, it reminds me a lot of the Undersiders' lair. It's a little bit higher tech, but they each have their own private spaces in it. So it's all of the wards, not Kid Wynn, because he got taken away, not Shadowstalker, she's not here, but the rest of the wards are here, and they start to debrief. Aegis isn't up for it. He has to focus on kind of healing up, goes to take a shower, but he delegates to one of Clockblocker or Gallant, the other two oldest wards. It seems like the oldest member of the wards is kind of their de facto leader.
Yeah.
That's Aegis right now. It's going to be Clockblocker soon, but only for 6 months, and then Gallant will take over. And Clockblocker isn't interested in running the meeting, so Gallant steps up. And he bravely says, first off, most importantly, today was not a failure.
Wow, Gallant. That's a strong claim.
He's got some whiteboards set up. He writes all of the Undersiders' names up on the whiteboards, and they proceed to document what they have learned, how the Undersiders' powers work. It's notable, it seems like this is the most that the heroes' side have been able to sort of learn about the Undersiders because they were exposed to them fighting for so long. It's certainly the first time any of them have learned anything about Taylor and how she operates. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they're pretty good at filling out the whiteboards. When they get to Taylor's entry, they realize they don't know what her name is. And they also realize that at some point, someone's going to, you know, maybe publish something in the newspaper about the bank job. This new villain's got to have a name, and it falls to them to give her one. So they brainstorm briefly. They come up with her name, which I won't say in the summary. Stay tuned for later in the episode when we talk about it. So that's a kind of a fun detail. They're filling out a lot of details about all the Undersiders, except for Tattletale. And at that point, suddenly computer monitors start beeping, and everybody hastily puts their masks back on, and in comes Armsmaster, Miss Militia, and Panacea. Panacea has come to help out with the healing. First, she had to patch up her sister, but she's here to help heal the wards, especially because, you know, the wards have tour groups that come to visit them. They have to go back to school next week, and, you know, nobody wants their secret identity to be blown, so it's important that they get healing. And Panacea is happy to help because, you know, they rescued her. So Gallant volunteers as the first person to be healed by Panacea. And she sort of looks him over and is like, I don't know, man, you don't seem that injured. And he says, no, I lied. I just want to talk to you. I can tell you are terrified. It turns out Gallant's power is not just blasting emotional beams, but he has constant emotion perception. He can see people's emotions floating around them like a cloud of color. And like I said, he can see that she's scared. And he also knows that she spent a lot of time in the room with Tattletale and Taylor and might have more intel to add, but that she's really, really scared. And that's why she isn't going to go and help them dish on what the deal is with Tattletale. And so they get to talking a little bit, and Amy really opens up about how she is not doing well, the burden that her powers put on her, the pressure that she feels all the time, how her connection to her family is important, but really, like, it seems like Victoria is the only one who's there for her, and that this encounter with Tattletale throwing all these threats of horrible secrets around has really shaken her. And that explains why she's so reluctant to even, do something that might cause retaliation against her. Gallant ends the conversation sort of trying to make her feel better, offering to talk, but Amy kind of shuts down a little bit. Gallant says, I kind of know you have some rather strong feelings towards me, and that's basically the end of the conversation. Mm-hmm. And even though they leave on, I would argue, slightly strange terms, she heals him up very quickly. She does then decide to approach the whiteboard and begin filling in the details about Tattletale.
Yeah. But what does she know about Tattletale, really? She knows the lie that Tattletale told them.
Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, what do we think she wrote on the whiteboard? I mean, do you have any theories?
I assume she told them that Tattletale said she was psychic, and then probably shared at least some of what Tattletale was able, like sort of the broad strokes of what Tattletale was able to tell them. Obviously, she's not going to detail the threats that she made, but she will talk about, she knew things from our past. She said she was reading our minds, and it seemed like that was believable.
Yeah. I do think that there's a chance that she'll be able to put together some of the pieces about how Lisa and Taylor were able to win. The theory that Tattletale presents is, I'm psychic, I know everything, but they might be able to look at what actually happened and say, like, oh, well, how could she have figured this out? Maybe she's able to know things about powers, maybe,
if she could read minds, she could have read Glory Girl's mind and found out, or Panacea's mind, and found out how Glory Girl's force field can be short-circuited.
Yeah.
And even if Amy puts that together, she is not going to share that with the wards, because she would never share Glory Girl's weakness with someone outside of their family.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because she does say, she figured out how to get around my sister's invulnerability. We know Glory Girl is not actually invulnerable. That's a lie. Amy is perpetuating that lie. She is not going to tell them how to do that.
That's interesting. I guess, my assumption is, there's no reason there's less of a reason for the heroes to keep their power secret from each other, but that's probably not true.
Yeah, no, I don't think she knows who they are, except for Gallant, probably, because he's dating Glory Girl, but, they're wearing masks. They don't take their masks off when they see her,
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. So maybe the ending is then more of a character beat of Amy, choosing, for whatever reason, choosing to face her fear rather than totally retreating. It's not necessarily that, oh no, Tattletale better watch out because Amy's going to tell them something that's going to matter.
Yeah, I think New Wave knowing stuff about Tattletale is also dangerous to her, so even if only Amy and Victoria know stuff, that is dangerous. But I don't know. I'm not convinced that they do know anything more than what Tattletale wanted them to.
Yeah,
because I don't think the thing she did to Glory Girl at the end is something she could only have figured out if she had some different power than being psychic. It could definitely be explained by being psychic.
Yeah, yeah.
She frames it as I've rifled through your memories and picked out various details that you haven't even put together. So it's not like she can only read what's on the surface of their minds. She's claiming she can read much more deeply.
Sure.
So it's totally plausible that, Glory Girl must know her own weakness. Tattletale could have gotten that out of her head, which makes her a terrifying villain.
Right.
And, I mean, they are all legitimately terrifying, so they would not be wrong to conclude that.
Yeah. Yeah, so then, well, what did you make of kind of Amy's decision at the end?
Oh, I think it was mostly a character beat. But I think the fact that she tells them that Tattletale says she's psychic is significant.
Yeah.
I mean, she'd already told Gallant, so they would have had the information, but it is possible if she says it in enough detail, if she lays out enough detail about what happened in the bank, someone else on the wards or protectorate teams will be able to be like, hang on, something doesn't add up. But I just don't think, given the subject matter involved, that she will give full detail.
Yeah.
She's not going to say what Tattletale threatened them with exactly.
Yeah. Now, here's something interesting. If all Amy can say is Tattletale claims to be psychic, there is one person in this chapter who knows for a fact that that's not true.
That is true. Armsmaster, who I didn't actually realize was there. He's mentioned, I was just looking 3 times, within quick succession. He doesn't say or do anything at all.
Yeah. He knows that if Tattletale was psychic, she would know what the deal is with Taylor.
Yeah, that is true. He knows that Tattletale has a knowledge-based power, but he can't tell them that she's not psychic if he doesn't want to blow up Taylor's spot. Because it does seem like he has been abiding by the thing where, just please don't tell anyone, don't write anything down.
Yeah.
And especially after today, I mean, as I said last time, he could be just really mad at Taylor and want to mess with her plan. Or he could realize intelligently that the Undersiders are a bigger problem now than they were. They do actually need Taylor's intel, and he shouldn't ruin things for her. I think even if it's the former, he probably, if he's at all, smart and restrained, will not just go off half-cocked and start telling people about her. He probably will try to contact her again, try to, change things.
Yeah, it's so interesting. There are so many... Only 3 arcs in, and there are so many layers of, people having slightly different sets of information. And, there's no reason for Amy and Armsmaster to, sit down and have a big heart-to-heart.
Right, right.
She needs to keep Glory Girl's power a secret. He doesn't necessarily want to implicate himself in anything going on with Taylor.
Right, and he doesn't want to ruin things for Taylor, who seemed to think that it would be a problem for her if Armsmaster started telling people.
Yeah. Though he was pretty mad at Taylor, so he might not be thinking fondly of her right now.
Well, like I said, I think the move would be to reach out to her, not necessarily to just try to ruin things for her, because he does need the information she has, and he has reason to think she is willing to give it at some point. So he might be willing to put up with that delay.
I do think Armsmaster is here for a reason, though.
Yeah.
And it's to provide a contrast to an exciting new character, Miss Militia.
Oh my god. What a ridiculous hero. Okay, so, the winsome Miss Militia. She wore a modified military uniform tight enough in the essential areas to accentuate her curves, sporting a scarf around her lower face with an American flag embroidered on it and a similar sash around her waist. I think that Wildbow is just making fun of Americans. I mean... Most arresting, however, was the large rocket launcher she held across her shoulders in the same way a weightlifter might hold a barbell. And then, later on, she shifted the position of the rocket launcher, dissolves into a blur of green-black energy, which lunged and arced around her for a few brief moments, then materialized into a machine gun. Then it changes again, sniper rifle, harpoon gun, pair of Uzis. She barely seemed to notice beyond the automatic action of holstering the guns. And, I mean, she's not in a battle situation. There's no need, it's not like she was like, ooh, I need some Uzis right now. It feels almost like, you might play with your hair or something.
Absolutely.
You're like, just filling with my weapon-shaped energy.
Yeah, she's a one-woman army. She seems to be able to always have 1 or 2 or maybe more weapons about her person.
Yeah.
It's like riffling a coin across your fingers or something. Just you're spinning a pencil, anything like that. I think you're right. She does strike you immediately as kind of like a send-up of a super patriotic hero, like Superman. It's like, no, a real American hero
Superman was created by Canadians.
No, but a real American hero would be like the military-industrial complex, all in one person.
Yes.
Though it is, I think it hits different that we have a female military-industrial complex.
But she's a very sexualized...
That's true, yeah.
Hero. And it is interesting, we've heard a bunch of names. I mean, Miss Militia, we have Lady Photon, we have Glory Girl, who have sort of these, like, feminine appendages to their names, which is interesting. I mean, I think it does reflect sort of the cultural understanding of femininity. They might be like, well, if I'm just called Militia, how will people know I'm a girl? Like,
yeah.
It feels a little silly. I don't know that we've run into as many male heroes with that kind of... We don't have a lot of, like, misters and...
We heard about the name Manpower.
Manpower, yeah. But it's not like Browbeat Man. Like,
Browbeat Man, Punch Man, yeah.
Because Armsmaster is sort of gendered in a way.
Yeah.
Armsmistress would be different.
Yeah. Really, she's the Armsmaster. Like, she has all the arms.
Honestly is, yes. Well, she must be younger, and all the good names were taken. She really masters the arms, yeah. Can she only do weapons? Like, what a weird power.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't really know how it works or, like, what it is, but it's very cool. I, like, again, so it's like, I want to see this animated, right? Like, she's just constantly, whatever she's doing in a scene, constantly her weapon is popping in and out.
Yeah.
So she appears in this scene when Amy is reluctant to go to the whiteboard initially. Armsmaster is going to, like, boss her around and, like, look, this is important. Like, you need to do this. And Miss Militia undercuts him to give Amy a break. It's like, why don't you heal the wards? And if you remember anything, that would be cool.
I think I was reading fast and I read Armsmaster as Aegis, just because they both start with an A.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to have way more than 26 characters that matter in the story, so it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's true. It's forgivable. They both start with an A. Yeah. But it does make sense that Armsmaster was pressuring Panacea for information on Tattletale, because Tattletale is the obstacle to him getting the information from Taylor.
Yeah. But to me, this puts Miss Militia in a good light.
That's true.
She seems kinder, or at least, like,
good with people,
better at people than Armsmaster.
Honestly, Taylor's plan about talking to her about the whole Undersiders thing seems better. She seems better to talk to than Armsmaster.
Yeah. I also, if you want to jump to something in the beginning of the chapter, this moment is very similar to the whole Aegis Kid Win Pigo interaction earlier.
Oh.
Because Pigo is cracking down on Kid Win, being like, oh, so this alternator cannon I've heard so much about, did you register it? Will I find all the paperwork about its use, like, filed with our scientists? And Kid Win is like, and Aegis is initially like, oh man, like come on, kid, like,
yeah.
But then he rallies and Aegis is helping Kid Win make the case, like, no, don't dismantle the gun. We could really use it if there's a really strong threat. So, the compromise is Pigo's going to confiscate the power source so that he can't deploy it on his own. Mm-hmm. But it's still going to be kept around in case a Class A threat, a really bad guy, comes to town. And Kid Win gives Aegis this, like, look afterward, like, oh man, thank you.
Yeah.
So another example in this chapter of, like, someone who is reading the room well and helping out, being pro-social, helping the team. Like, Aegis and Miss Militia in this scenario both seem like
good leaders.
They're coming off as good leaders in this chapter.
Unlike Armsmaster, who sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if we want to get into Gallant yet or talk about other things, but I'm really interested in your read on Gallant as a leader, because I feel like he's the one that we see attempt to step up several times with mixed results.
I mean, it seemed like he did okay at the whiteboard exercise. His conversation with Amy, I mean, there's a lot there, especially in what she has to say about herself. He starts, I can sense emotions, like, I can't turn it off, it's just how I see the world. It doesn't seem like he's particularly tactful with how he, like, at the end of the conversation, when, you mentioned this, like, he says, does this have anything to do with the rather strong feelings you have towards me? Like, why would that have anything to do with that, Gallant? Like, and then he's like, I shouldn't have brought it up. And I was like, no, you shouldn't have, buddy. Like, where did you think you were going with that conversation?
Yeah, I think it's so interesting. I guess, maybe we need to talk about what's going on with Amy and come back to it. But to talk about him as a leader, we do get him being Gallant.
Yes.
Director Pigot calls him out at the beginning when he's like, no, I'll pay for it. And she's like, nice try, rich boy. Like, everybody knows, and then he steps up. Clockblocker is not interested in leading, but he's happy for Aegis to delegate running this meeting to him. Seems to be, he smiles at Vista, who we learn has a huge crush on him. He opens the meeting with his, like, guys, let's turn a negative into a positive
That was a pretty good speech. I'm not even sure he was wrong.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so far, so good. But it is interesting, the idea that he can always see how everybody is feeling. His choice to present as, like, Gallant is a really good way to manage that dynamic, right?
Yeah.
Like, Amy compares him to Tattletale. Like, you're this invasive perceiver. Like, she's reading my mind, you're reading my body, my emotions. And that's so invasive. And he's kind of like, I can't turn it off. So it's really interesting that he knows that everybody knows that he can tell what's going on with them. Yeah. And so the mask that he is choosing to put on is like, well, I'm always going to I'll offer to pay, I'll offer to lead. Like, I'm not going to make it anybody else's problem. And it's sort of a, like, not seeming threatening.
Yeah.
And maybe, like, I don't know, maybe with Amy, he's not good at handling conflict. Maybe.
I don't think he does a bad job, though, honestly. Like, he gets her to open up. She says a lot of things to him that sounds like, she doesn't say to a lot of people easily.
That's true.
It does result in her writing the information about Tattletale on the whiteboard. So it's like a pretty effective interaction.
Yeah. I would say that she sort of shuts down at the end of their conversation, and it's not even before he puts his foot in his mouth about how she feels about him. But yeah, maybe we can circle back to Amy. I guess, he doesn't seem smarmy. It should be very easy for sort of like true. Rich. Yeah, I guess we don't know how attractive he is, but I assume like rich,
everyone has a crush
good-looking
on him.
guy.
I'm sure he's good-looking. Yeah.
He doesn't seem like a smarmy type. He does seem like he is trying to be an upstanding guy. Yeah. Somebody that Amy could come and talk to.
Really gallant in the Highlights magazine sense of the word.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it makes me curious about his relationship with Glory Girl. So I feel like what I've seen of Glory Girl so far has not impressed me with who she is. It's interesting that someone who reads emotions wants to be with someone who seems to generally be an untroubled person, and I wonder if that's part of the draw for him.
Yeah.
That she certainly has anger in her emotional wallet, but it doesn't seem like she's someone who gets, like, gloomy or depressed or anything like that. And maybe he really enjoys the emotional palette that she has to offer.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And he probably admires, like, what she wants to do to, like, make the world better or whatever.
Right. There are only so many people with powers, and it is an interesting... There's an interesting...
It's like how celebrities have to date each other.
Yeah, well, it's like... If you can't tell somebody that you can perceive their emotions, dating them is like pretty unethical.
Them. Yeah, no.
Right? Like, and probably not every 16, 17-year-old boy is going to care about that, but like it seems like he's kind of thought about that kind of thing.
I was thinking about it in terms of like how he feels about Glory Girl's emotions. Probably there's a big piece of it that's how does Glory Girl feel about him reading her emotions? There probably aren't that many people who'd be okay with someone reading their emotions, but Glory Girl definitely would be. like specifically your significant other, like that is really invasive, but like what does she have to hide? Like she just, everything's great. She's great.
True.
Like,
secrets, right? Like
no
that's
shame.
her ethos. Yeah. That's what she says. Yeah, no secrets, no shame, even when you should be.
Yeah. Being shameless, I feel like would be a really good attribute for dating Gallant. We do also see another side of Glory Girl in this. Amy is talking about her and says, my sister is all I have, the only person who really knows me as a person, no expectations of me. And that is a really nice look at their relationship. The first time we met them, it kind of seemed like she was using Amy.
Yeah.
The second time, we did see that there really is a deep attachment there. And this is even showing it in a better light. Like, not just that Glory Girl wouldn't want Amy to be killed, which, you know, obviously, but not just that she's this huge emotional lever for her, but that they really have an emotionally open and connected relationship.
Yeah.
We also learn it in the context of some pretty grim things about Amy's life in general.
Yeah, I mean, starting with her family, she says that her mom never really wanted her in the family. That's her take on it. Her dad is depressed. The rest of her New Wave family, you know, have their own problems. Seems like a really tough situation even before she got this power. I don't think Panacea is the anybody junior. Right, she talks about getting international acclaim for her power, right? Like, we were joking, Alexandria Jr. is how you could refer to Glory Girl, right? Like, I kind of wouldn't be surprised if her power is on another level in terms of uniqueness or just in terms of her ability. Like, we see in this chapter, Gallant isn't that injured, but again, she just heals him with a single touch. It doesn't take any time. It's instantaneous.
And she talks about the thing that I was mentioning when she was introduced, that, like, she can save so many lives, but there is physically no way for her to cure everyone. And even if she goes to the hospital every night for 2 or 3 hours, which it sounds like she does, she points out, like, it's just such a tiny fraction of a percent of the people who need her, who don't deserve the horrible pain and physical state they're in. And she's overwhelmed by the pressure of these people who she could be saving and isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she talks about how she lies in bed, awake at night, and she can't sleep. So she gets up and goes to the hospital. But it's blurring together. She can't remember the people she saves. So she's giving of herself, but she's not getting anything back because it is so instantaneous for her.
Yeah.
Like, if she were someone who really had to connect, like, with a patient and spend time with them in order to heal them, that would be more of a human experience. That would be more like being a doctor. But she says, I feel like every second I take to myself is a second I've failed somehow. Right. Because it only takes her a second.
It would be more human to connect with her patients, but that would hurt more people.
Well, yes, but I mean, if her power was a slower one.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Right. So, if her power is putting this burden on her because it's so strong.
If her power required her to take more time and really work with people, then that would give her a more human experience of healing these people she's able to connect with. And she would know that, well, it takes me this long to heal someone, I can't heal everyone. But she can heal people almost instantly. Yeah, and it's again, I'm sort of saying international acclaim. It reminds me of Scion. We don't know anything about him, but all he does all the time is fly around and, like, stop stuff from happening. It seems like he might not be a person, but Amy is, and she can't really live like this. Yeah. Like, she's saying that she's exhausted, and Gallant's like, this sounds like more than exhaustion. And then she's worried she's becoming evil. She had this experience, she tells us, with this child. So he's a toddler, and he has this disorder, a congenital disorder, where he's born with his heart outside his body, and she's fixing it up. And she resents him. Says, I hated that he would have a normal life because I'd given up mine. I was scared that I might intentionally make a mistake, that I might let myself fuck up the procedure with this kid. I could have killed him or ruined his life, but it would have eased the pressure, lowered expectations, including her expectations of herself. And she says she actually considered for the briefest moment abandoning a child to suffer or die. And that's when Gallant's like, this sounds like more than just exhaustion. Yeah. And she's worried that she's becoming evil. Yeah. Which it doesn't sound like she is. But it does sound like this burden of her power is untenable. Yeah. Like, she's, probably like 16? Yeah. She got this power 2 years ago. Like, what a burden to have on a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old. Like, the weight of all of the sick and injured people in the world. The rest of your life has been taken from you, right? Yeah. This is what she's going to do. If you do anything else with your time, you're selfish. Yeah. Because no one else can do what she can do. And that's why it's such a, short of a really crazy revelation about the way this world is different from ours, she's definitely not fated to be evil, right? But, like, it's so clear to me why this is such a tempting fear that preys on her insecurity, because, like, she has this burden of responsibility. The stakes of evil for her are like, what if I linger too long
outside the hospital, like looking at a tree, right? Like, like that's killing 10 people or possibly. Yeah. I feel like she's sort of conflating the like responsibility she has and like what it means that she's in an adopted family that it doesn't seem to, be a good place for her, and what it means that her father is a notorious villain. Like, I feel like those issues, I understand why they're also heavy. They feel a little like twisted up in the context of her talking about this now.
I'm thinking a lot about like what she gives of herself and what she gets in return. Like, it doesn't sound like she gets a lot of active support and love from her family, except from her sister. It sounds like she gets a lot of acclaim, a lot of recognition, but it is all for this power. So it sounds like she doesn't have a very stable sense of self-worth.
Of course. I mean, we don't know the order that she and Victoria got her powers in, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they're sort of, the thing that feels natural to me is like, not only do you have this, quote unquote perfect sister in just like a normal sibling dynamic thing, but then she's like Alexandria Jr., right? Yeah. Like, you develop a whole complex about that, and then you get powers, and like that's great for a day, and then you realize your life is ruined, right? Like, it could have gone the other way.
Maybe. Glory Girl's older, so she probably did get her powers first.
Yeah, we don't really know.
But I could see, Amy says she never wanted powers. So it might be that she saw Victoria develop powers and was like, cool, hope that's not me. Yeah. And then she did get this
maybe
power.
They were super close and the powers took her away.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like they are still very close, but maybe there was some element of that. It makes sense to me now that she probably was on the news a lot when she got her powers 2 years ago, and that's what Tattletale was referencing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which makes sense. 2 years changes a person's appearance a lot.
Yeah. And this is where my question about Gallant starts, because she confesses, I almost killed a kid, to like ease the pressure off. Mm-hmm. Then she says, is this how I start down, a path of villainy? And Gallant says, well, maybe. Right? He goes, I could say you're never going to be like your father, but I'd be lying. Any of us, all of us, we run the risk of finding our own way down that path. I can see the strain you're experiencing, the stress. I've seen people snap because of less. So yeah, it's possible. Okay, she said, just under her breath. And then he says, take a break. And she says, I don't think I can.
Yeah, he does kind of
fail
to
this is his tough love approach. It totally makes sense. I think it makes sense in the context of teammates. I think it makes sense in the context of like, if he's saying like, well, this is I know the right advice. I don't think it's right for Amy in this moment. I think that what she needs is like validation. Like, she needs someone who can say, I know you are good. I know that your fears are unreasonable. I know there is
yeah, she didn't leave the kid to die. She's not evil.
Exactly. And I struggle with this talking to people. I struggle with this talking to myself too, right? It's like, when do you need the tough love approach, and when do you need the like unconditional love approach?
Right.
And I feel like Amy feels like she's in a bad enough place that this might be the wrong move from Gallant.
Because it does, I think he is saying what he believes about all of them in general, that any of them could go down a bad path, and I'm sure that's something they kind of emphasize in the words, and, probably something he thinks about a lot as someone with a power. But like you said, it's maybe not the most useful thing to say right now. I think he's also really concerned about her, and he wants to say, like, he wants to tell her to take that break. He doesn't want to say, like, oh, no, you're totally fine, just keep on going like you are. But I think he fails to find
being dismissive would be worse.
He fails to find that middle ground of, like, no, you're not evil, but you need to take a break. It sounds like she's going through intense burnout. It's when you give more than you get back, because she gets nothing back from using her powers except the sense that, oh, there are all these people I didn't save. Right. Because she doesn't get to connect with them, the people she does save, she doesn't get anything from that. She's only giving, and that equation doesn't add up, and she doesn't necessarily need a break. She needs some work to do that will give her a reward. Yeah. That will make her feel that sense of purpose. I don't know what that can be, because, the most useful work she can do is instantaneous and doesn't involve that kind of feedback of gratitude and appreciation. And I do wonder, just thinking about how her power works, it's shocking to me how quickly she's able to heal him. I'm sure with a more complicated situation, I'm sure it is similar to the vibe that we get from how Bitch powers up her dogs. There probably are gradients. It's probably not true that
she can do an infinite amount of work with a click of her fingers. Though maybe Taylor's power is kind of a counterexample. She seems to be able to absorb a ton of information. So who knows how it really works. But I was thinking in the context of this, like, worried about self-sabotaging, her rule about not messing with people's brains. And that could be purely a gut instinct moral stance. It could be a rule of self-preservation about, I am so afraid of what could go wrong.
Yeah.
The self-sabotage could be worse, right? Or it could be very selfishly motivated, like, think of how much the burden would increase if I could change those other things.
It's kind of setting boundary, like, I can't get even more powerful by being able to fix people's brains.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it feels like Victoria was thinking to herself, Amy just needs to practice her power. Like, really dismissive of like what it would mean.
Which is interesting because Amy thinks that Victoria's the only person who really sees her as a person, which I think is true, but I don't think Victoria understands her.
Yeah.
Because Victoria wouldn't relate to this mindset at all, I don't think.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'd be willing to listen, maybe, she might argue, but I don't think she would understand.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Amy thinks, like, okay, yeah, maybe I could heal people's brains, but, like, I already have more ability than I have time to practice it. So, I mean, it's not like I'm going to run out of bodies to heal. Yeah.
And I guess it could also be, maybe just the more natural thing is, like, she knew she was a healer. It did take her a while to practice her power to be so instantaneous.
Maybe, yeah.
And so maybe it is sort of the hypothesis that if you were able to do brain stuff, you would need to practice to be good at it. Maybe that's just how it is. That is kind of an Occam's razor approach. But yeah, it's just, we've been talking about Amy for a while now. I love the way that her character situation and her power reflect on each other. Yeah. It's maybe the deepest, other than Taylor, we've gotten into a side character. But yeah, it's just, I feel like the seeds were planted a little bit of, like, Amy, she feels like her power is a burden and she's kind of responsible. And we were comparing her to Taylor in a lot of ways in the last episode. But this is just, like, a real deep dive into what her deal is. And it feels like we're just scratching the surface.
I said last time that I think Glory Girl is ripe for villainy. I actually think Panacea is much more ripe for it.
Tell me more.
Because what a relief it would be to stop caring.
Yeah.
She feels like every second of her life should be spent saving people. It's so much easier to just stop saving people at all. Yeah. Because if you're trying to save people and you know you can't do it, that burden just presses on you all the time. And if you say, you know what, people don't deserve to be saved, like, you can finally slough it off. You can be free. You can sleep at night.
It reminds me...
How do you sleep at night? By becoming a villain.
The first chapter in this arc, we get Taylor trying to go to school and failing. It feels like a real bookend to what Amy's talking about here. Taylor's talking about, like, the little negotiations she makes with herself.
Right, yeah.
I can just get to the next class. I can just do one more. Yeah. And then the relief when she turns and walks the other way.
Yeah. What if Amy turned and walked the other way?
Yeah.
What if she can use her power for evil? She can heal, but she can also mess with people's bodies.
Yeah. Yeah. Victoria said to that Nazi guy, like, you think I'm scary, but, like, check out what Amy can do.
Amy has one thing tethering her to normalcy, and it's Victoria.
Yeah.
If something happened to Victoria, she would turn evil.
Ooh. Yeah.
I don't know if that's where the story's going, but that would be a cool place for it to go.
Yeah.
I would read it.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, so this girl is in a lot of trouble, in a precarious position, and Gallant didn't really quite do enough to help her.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough call. Like, what, you know...
The first half of the chapter on a reread, I was like, oh, I'm impressed with how Gallant is doing. And then I got to this conversation with Amy, and I'm like, oh, he made some missteps. And then there's this final thing where he's like, ooh.
Your feelings for me? And she's like, no, what? Go away.
Which feels like a real mistake.
So, okay, we've talked a lot about Amy, which I feel like is definitely the most interesting part of this chapter.
I'll throw in one more Amy note just to inform the listeners. It's a little bit of an interesting piece of analysis, too. We learn Amy can't heal herself.
Yes, true.
Which, to me, the first thing I thought of is that means her knife maneuver, where she breaks free from
Real
Taylor,
dangerous.
was even more dangerous than you realized
I was
at the
actually
time.
assuming, based on that chapter, that she couldn't heal herself, because if she could, then she and Victoria would not have been so nervous about Taylor having a knife to her throat.
Great point.
Yeah.
But got confirmation of that in this chapter.
So, just kind of going backwards, we talked about Miss Militia. Let's talk about this situation. Gallant's claim that this wasn't a loss.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in some ways he's right. Like, mostly what they lost was money. What the Undersiders gained was money.
Yeah.
The Undersiders gained notoriety, but as we see, like, is that useful? Alec was all like, we'll have a better rep, it'll be cool. But as I was pointing out, like, what are they going to get from that rep? They're going to get people trying to take them out. And now the wards have a lot more information about them. It was a very public and risky operation that they carried out. And they did really well. They got away, basically unscathed. They got the money. But they've sort of entered this more difficult situation where they're not flying under the radar as much, in that the wards and the protectorate will want to take them out more, and they just have a lot more information on them. And as we know, information is key.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I guess this isn't directly in response to what you were saying, but, like, the impression I get is that the wards aren't chumps. Like, we really get this, like, pretty deep look into them debriefing, and, like, they did get pretty thoroughly defeated over the past few chapters of the arc, but you really see they learn from it. They're not all brats like Victoria, right? Like, they genuinely seem to be
smart and motivated.
A smart, motivated group of teen heroes trying to do their best.
Yeah, and I mean, the Clock Blocker Aegis costume swap was a really great move, except for they didn't know about Tattletale. But now they do.
But now they do. Yeah, it really it just invites the question of the next time, if there's a next time, the wards and the Undersiders face off.
It'll be harder.
How will it go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we also got some speculation, as you mentioned, about Taylor's cape name.
Let's talk about it.
So I should say, Ted accidentally spoiled this for me quite a while ago.
Listeners, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. This is, I believe, the only long-running spoiler that I have unintentionally dropped so far, knock on wood.
Yeah, at some point he's like, oh yeah, a Skitter mask. And I was like, Skitter?
I was trying to figure out if I should add the mandibles to our inchworm logo.
This was after we'd recorded a bunch of episodes.
Yeah,
before we launched.
Jenny wasn't faking earlier when we talked about potential names on, like, episode 2 or episode
this hadn't
0,
happened at that point.
That was. But I was talking about trying to find art of Skitter that I could compare to my lowly Taylor drawing. And yeah, it slipped out. So that's why I haven't been really trying to make Jenny guess over and over again.
Because I knew. Skitter is a cool name. It's much better than Worm or Maggot.
Yeah. I love that Worm came up and everybody decided...
They were like, no, that's a terrible name.
Worm is a terrible name.
It's me, Worm.
Validating Jenny from much earlier.
Yeah. So it is interesting to me that it sounds like, I mean... I guess I don't know what route this will take, but, like, it sounds like the wards are naming her as a villain. Like, she's not choosing her own name.
Yeah.
It sounds like she's going to go with this name, I guess, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not misleading you. It's not like this is the only time she's referred to as Skitter.
Oh,
but I won't say anything more than that.
I guess maybe it's not the name that she, wants. I mean, it's a pretty good name, though. Because, I mean, they do make the point. They're like, we can't come up with a bad name and say we were beaten by someone named Maggot. Then we'll come off as terrible. Right.
It's so interesting. And it's one of several times that the theme of optics comes up in this chapter. You're saying it went so badly for them. So, okay, well, we can sort of blame it on the fact that there was this unexpected element, but, like, we're not calling her Bug Girl. We're not calling her Worm. We're not calling her Maggot. It's got to be something respectable.
She's got to sound cool so that it can be okay that she beat us. Yeah, I guess I said they mostly lost money, but what they lost also was prestige.
Yeah.
And that does really matter. That's something that Director Piggo is really mad about.
Yeah.
It's like, she's like, my goal is to keep these programs funded so we can keep, you guys doing your thing.
Yeah. Institutional continuation and optics are her number one priorities. As an aside, she comes off as so like awful high school principal. Yeah. Like, that is her attitude. Like, hard ass, very much trying to call out all of the bullshit she sees these teens trying to throw back at her. I do want to give her credit for, like, backing off a little bit about taking the battery out of the alternator cannon instead of destroying it. But yeah, very much that archetype. And it totally makes sense. This is the first time we're seeing, the inside of this PRT organization structure.
Yeah.
And, like, of course, what she cares about is not the good guys doing their best to be good guys and beat bad guys. It's about making sure that the wards program has funding next year.
Yeah.
And the year after that. And the year after that.
It's hard to do anything without the funding. This whole description of the wards program, I was like, oh, no wonder Taylor doesn't want to do this.
Yeah.
It's, like, they have so much they need to answer for. Like, I guess they get paid, which is cool. But they have
trust funds.
They get trust funds, yeah. But they have to jump through all these hoops. There's all this bureaucracy around it. There are all these expectations of them. There are tours of their headquarters where they live.
Yeah.
Constantly. There's like a countdown clock in their private area to when the
next
tour happens.
You can go to the ward's basement.
Right. And it's like there'll be journalists like poking their heads in, like make sure your rooms look good. Like so exposed. It's so ironic that this group of people who wear masks and have secret identities and keep who they are secret from the public are also so exposed at the same time.
Yeah.
And what a burden on top of having to, fight villains. I feel like the real, gauntlet they're running is, the press.
Yeah.
And, they have to answer this to this director who, analyzes how they did. And
yeah. Even the elevator is called out in the narration as, it looks extra cool because that's
tourists.
what people expect. In addition to having security.
But also to impress people.
Yeah. And I thought this was fascinating. We were pretty hard on Kid Win. I felt like this was a fascinating look into who he is. Because when Pigo is no paperwork, excuse me, he's initially kind of look, I just wanted to use every tool at my disposal. I know I'm cutting corners, but we just want to stop the bank robbers, right? And that's not persuasive to me. And I initially read that as he's BSing and he just wanted to play with his cool new toy. And I'm sure there was an element of that, but he gets really genuine when he is pleading for her not to destroy the cannon. And maybe it's more pride in what he's made or something like that. But I felt like he was being earnest. He was like, I don't care if I never see it again. But I built this.
Use it.
This is good. It can fight a Class A threat.
Yeah.
You don't throw that away. It would be wrong. We're here to stop bad guys. It would be wrong.
Yeah.
And then I forget if it's Gallant or Clockblocker later says something he's really got to learn how to color inside the lines because this pushback against authority is not good. Mm-hmm. And that's when I was like, oh man, Taylor would not do well here. This feels, this thread that I'm tracing about Kid Win is no, but we're here to stop the bad guys. And we have a tool, why wouldn't we use it?
That's very much Taylor's ethos.
That's absolutely Taylor's ethos.
I can really see why she wants to be an independent hero.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Speaking of stopping bad guys, there's a bunch of exposition in the first few pages about how they do that, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, talk about 4 PRT officers. So it seems like the Protectorate is in a different headquarters. They have their own thing.
They're floating on the bay.
This PRT building has the wards and, I guess, PRT officers. So it seems like there's a parahuman response team agency that oversees the wards. The Protectorate doesn't oversee the wards, even though you do graduate from the wards into the Protectorate.
Right.
It's an interesting... and then you do get Miss Militia and Armsmaster coming in, so clearly there's a strong connection.
And I'll invite a little bit of speculation here. The fact that Kid Win gets his toy confiscated reminds me of what Armsmaster was complaining about this arc too, where when Lung almost died, his halberd got taken and inspected. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Protectorate is genuinely more independent than the wards, because the wards are minors and stuff.
Right, but I guess they still are under the PRT, maybe.
Nominally the Protectorate is government authorized. And
right, maybe
we haven't learned anything about
the
way the government might be different, but there's a network of connections between the sort of official government and the capes, and the power structure is a little bit unclear so far.
But yeah, we have PRT officers. They have chain mesh and Kevlar vests, helmets that cover their faces, and firearms. 2 of them have grenade launchers, and
they have cool grenades.
Right. They have specialty ammunition, a fire extinguishing grenade, an EMP round, and various stun grenades. The other 2 had what appeared at first glance to be flamethrowers. Were they to pull the triggers, they would eject a thick, frothing spray of foam enough to contain all but the strongest and fastest villains. That's so cool. That sounds like something a tinker invented.
Yeah.
And I thought of that. I was like, that wouldn't stop Taylor. It would stop her physically, but it wouldn't stop her power.
Yeah.
I bet there are other capes like that.
Yeah. Yeah, the foam throwers are just a really delightful touch.
Yeah. They have 4-foot-tall pictures of the various Protectorate and Wards teams were placed at regular intervals around the lobby. I was like, yeah, they're celebrities as wards.
There's
like
a gift shop.
There's a gift shop. Crowded, thick with youths.
As an aside, I love the note that there are video games that you can buy in the gift shop related to the wards.
Yeah.
And so what this reminded me of is in high school, a bunch of my friends got really into America's Army, which was the U.S. Army-built video game that was like a team first-person shooter, like good guys versus terrorists. Both sides are playing the good guys. The game switches it out. That was a genuine recruitment vehicle. This was like the game that was like, oh, it's realistic. It has a lot more details. It's more like strategic than just sort of a like point and shoot Call of Duty type thing. But suddenly, like remembering that existed made me realize that, like, of course, there is a game where you get to be a cool cape. Maybe you can pick which ward you want to be, or maybe you can come up with your own power set. But the point of the game is to, like, it's propaganda.
Right, it's to make you think that they're all really cool.
You can't go enlist unless you happen to get powers.
Right, but you'll support their funding.
But exactly. But yeah, I'd love to speculate more.
Yeah.
If someone on Reddit has come up with, details about these are the games
I would
in the
play
gift
that
shop.
game. I mean, I wouldn't probably.
I would love to read about them.
Oh, one thing we learned. So we were wondering where Shadowstalker was. She was not the person on the roof. And it does come up. Gallant asks about it. Shadowstalker's AWOL. Couldn't make it in time, Aegis grunted. Told her to stay put. She's going to hate that. Doesn't she have this huge hate-on for Gru? Part of the reason. I told her to stay. We don't need that. So I'm intrigued by this. Like, it might just be like, okay, that's why she wasn't there, and it made the fight simpler or whatever. My theory, which I can't remember if I said on the air or not, is that Shadowstalker was in the loft.
Right.
Waiting for them. It was going to wait for Gru to get back and then take them by surprise. It is possible that Aegis knows that as just being cagey, or that Shadowstalker was doing this on her own and didn't tell the others. This kind of makes it sound like maybe she just was far away or whatever, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I mean, I would take Aegis at face value that at least Shadowstalker... He thought Shadowstalker was too far away.
Right, yeah. Right, I guess if she had found their loft and he knew that, like, that would be a huge part of the discussion. Why would it not come up?
But she was a vigilante,
True,
kind of.
She might be a little bit of a rogue element.
Yeah.
Like Browbeat, who just joined. And,
we talked a lot about people keeping secrets from even other heroes, so...
It's true. Browbeat, we learn what happened to him. All I know is that I was suddenly blind and deaf, and when I tried to move, everything bent the wrong way. Then I think I got tasered. Poor guy.
So funny.
First fight with the wards.
So funny. First fight with the wards, he gets completely taken out, and then he gets his pay docked because Gallant brought his girlfriend. Like, what a disaster.
And he says he wouldn't mind so much if he knew what happened. Also, he stretched and his muscles began to dwindle in size. So he can do body modifications, but it's not permanent. It's something he can control.
That's not what you were saying, that there is just like this sort of like hulking figure like crammed into the tiny desk at school. And
they're all like, which one is a hero? I don't know.
Yeah. Since we're just talking about fun little details.
Yeah.
Aegis's whole deal, his recovery, is such a horror show. But because he's invulnerable, it is played for laughs to great effect several times throughout the chapter, right? Whenever he talks, it's like, his voice is completely rasping as this windpipe
One
was
of
crushed.
his lungs was punctured, and he can put his hand through his body.
Yeah. And Mego's like, you don't need to put your hand, like, no one needs to see that. And he goes up there to get into the headquarters. There's a retina scanner. And he's like, delegates that to Clockblocker and is like, that's weird, you usually do it. And he's like, I think I have a detached retina.
He wasn't going to mention that, but...
But yeah, he seems like a good leader. He can delegate effectively. Yeah. He knows he's graduating soon.
Right.
So, he's creating opportunities for the next generation. He was backing up Kid Win, as I mentioned earlier. We learned his name is Carlos.
I wonder if Gallant will do as good a job when he's the leader next year.
Yeah. How will they fare with 3 to 4 months of Clockblocker running the show?
He doesn't seem very motivated to lead. particularly
that
good
was
at
the
it.
main thing that we got from him this chapter.
Yeah.
He said he would have nightmares about spiders.
Yes.
He had welts all over his face.
Yeah.
And he...
and he's alive, so...
yeah. He wants to procrastinate on the leadership thing.
Yeah.
And he's alive, we should have said.
Clocker lives. We knew that at the end of last chapter.
We knew that.
Tattletale told us.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned their loft is really cool. I do feel like this is the first time in the story, like, this location, it is a little bit like, we're in the basement of a government building. But it's also like, there's high tech. They have monitors, they have eye scanners, they have a cool elevator. It's very high tech in a way that I would, like, expect a superhero base to have. Like, It's very cool. I'm excited to see more, I want to get inside the Protectorate headquarters next. I'm very
floating
excited about
on the water.
On the water. Yeah, I mean, I think approaching the end of the conversation, do you have any predictions about what's happening next immediately or the next arc or anything?
Okay, I have to admit, I did see the next page.
Oh, so you know.
I know she goes back to school and sees Emma.
Okay, well, that's what's going to happen next.
That's what's going to happen next. I think she's going to punch her in the face with bugs and kill her.
Yes. Okay.
No, I don't think that's going to happen.
We killed Clockblocker in this arc. We killed off Bitch. We killed off the rest of the wards, except Aegis, who can't die. We killed Glory Girl. Sorry, Amy.
Amy turned evil.
Next, Emma is doomed. Wow.
No,
this is a bloodbath.
It's true. It's a long book, a lot of characters. You can kill them off whenever you want. Yeah. Still more in the
Too many, as with Aegis, Armsmaster, Amy, too many A names.
That's true. Kill 2 out of 3.
Okay, so she's going back to school.
I know she's going back to school.
You think it's going to be a whole arc at school?
No. We're definitely going to see the Undersiders again. I think they're probably going to be planning something else, and I think Taylor's going to have to be trying to figure out who the boss is. I predicted already that they're going to want to do bigger and better things now that they were so successful, so I think that is going to happen. They're also going to have to deal with their newfound notoriety, which might lead to complications. I don't know how it's going to go for Taylor. Like, she was really riding a high when she left the bank job, which might make it easier for her to go to school.
Yeah.
Kind of feel like, okay, no, I'm actually secretly really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like the bullies in the school situation are going to have to get connected to the Cape world sometime soon in some way.
Yeah.
And I mean, Emma's the natural connection. We've conjectured many things, but like I do think she probably has a power.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that will come out in this arc or if it's too soon.
Yeah, very interesting. All right, before I tell you what the next arc is called, I have some specific follow-up questions because I don't think we talked directly about them. The ongoing mystery of Amy's secrets.
Yeah.
Did this chapter, we had sort of left that conversation in the previous chapter. I'm curious if the way she talks about it here, she doesn't confess anything to Gallant.
No, yeah.
Did that spark anything for you? Or are you content to leave this as an ongoing mystery?
I don't know that it sparked anything for me. I do think it's still not revealed. We know that she had a villain for a father. She's afraid she'll turn out like him, but she doesn't know who he is. And it did seem like Tattletale knew something else that would hurt Amy. But...
Shame, humiliation, heartbreak.
Yeah. It might be something that Victoria did.
Okay.
Or does that would hurt Amy to know about.
Okay.
Because it was sort of like a Glory Girl saying, tell me, I'll handle the consequences. And Tattletale was like, no, Amy will experience the consequences, which included heartbreak.
Yeah.
And it's like, you won't come off looking great either. So I do think I think it probably is something about Victoria.
Okay.
That's my theory.
Yeah. Oh, no, okay. No, there's one more thing. Amy said she has strong feelings for Gallant, but we didn't actually explicate that.
Yeah, right. I feel like the obvious implication is that she has a crush on him.
Yeah.
She's a crush on her sister's boyfriend.
Vista
does.
Also has a crush on Gallant.
But...
He's winsome, like Miss Militia.
Yeah. He's winsome, she's losesome.
Kid winsome.
Kid lost one. I wonder if Vista having a crush on Gallant is meant to lead us to think that Amy has a crush on Gallant too, but that's sort of a red herring. Maybe she feels something else about him.
Interesting.
Yeah, because they didn't specify what kind of feelings. Maybe that's just being coy. It's obvious what it is, but I wonder if for some reason she has some other, maybe she...
Yeah, that's interesting. Then it's not so much...
anger or sadness or who knows.
Yeah, then it's not so much he's like, just so you know, I know you're into me, which is like, that's really bad. Maybe it's not.
Yeah,
maybe the situation
that's true.
isn't that bad.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's like, why would he bring it up? I wonder if she's just afraid that Gallant will take Victoria away. That would be more related to what she just said about how all I have is Victoria, and he could be like, negative. Is this why you have strong feelings about
negative,
me?
not strong positive.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's more likely, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, do we have any names for the next time?
No names, except the next arc is called Shell.
Shell. Wow. Okay, so that kind of sounds like retreating back into something. I mean, I guess it could also be coming out of your shell. But if this arc is Shell, we're kind of in it. So we know she goes back to school, which does feel sort of like retreating to a shell, like back to her sort of, definitely not a refuge, but like the old life that she was trapped in. It almost feels to me like the implication is that they're not going to do bigger and better adventures in this one. That, like, this is more of an exploration of, like, Taylor's life surroundings the various situations she's gotten herself into here. But I don't know. I mean, a whole arc without an exciting thing. We've had a lot of exciting arcs so far, so that seems...
Yeah.
It's like what would fill the arc in that case.
Yeah.
I wonder if it is almost... Like, you know how crustaceans grow out of... Crustaceans, which she can control, grow out of one shell and then grow into a bigger one. I wonder if that's sort of what's happening, if she's going to leave school behind for good in this arc.
Yeah.
Because last time she was still telling herself, I'll go back after the bank thing, which it seems like she actually is doing.
Yeah.
And, maybe she'll outgrow her shell, cast it off.
I love that.
Yeah, all right. That's my prediction.
Good stuff.
Or maybe they rob an oil company.
Oh, interesting. You know, the Protectorate HQ is on a refitted oil rig. Very interesting.
Perfect. All right, well, I guess we'll find out. But not for a week and a half.
On Inchworm. Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildvote. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.